On April 15th, 2005, 59-year-old Center County District Attorney Ray Gricar disappeared on what seemed like an ordinary drive. His locked car was found the next day, and his laptop later turned up in a river. But Ray himself vanished without a trace. Welcome to the Fifth File, where we do deep dives into the cold, the missing, and the unexplained. Ray Frank Gricar was the long-serving district attorney of Center County, Pennsylvania. He served from 1985 to 2005 and was about 8 months shy of his retirement. He lived with his longtime partner, Patty Fornicola, in Bellefonte. On the morning of April 15th, 2005, he called Patty to say he was taking the day off and going on a drive to Lewisburg, about 50 miles away from his home. When he didn't return that evening and failed to answer his phone, Patty reported him missing. It wasn't until the next day, around 11:30 a.m., police located his red and white 2004 Mini Cooper, abandoned in a parking lot near an antiques mall in Lewisburg. His cell phone was inside the car, but his wallet, keys, sunglasses, and notably his work laptop were all gone. Inside Ray's car, investigators also found cigarette ash. Though Ray hated smoking and was known never to allow it in his car, his DNA was found on a water bottle inside. Search parties scoured both land and the Susquehanna River, but found no trace. Then, in July 2005, when some fishermen discovered his county-issued laptop lodged under a nearby bridge, its hard drive had been removed, an unusual and deliberate action. Months later, the hard drive was discovered along the banks of the Susquehanna River, not far from where the car had been found. But it was badly damaged. Investigators attempted to recover data, even enlisting help from the FBI, but nothing could be salvaged. Whatever was on that hard drive, if anything, remains a mystery to this day. Online searches on his home computer revealed terms like how to wreck a hard drive and water damage to a notebook computer. At the same time, those close to him noticed changes in his behavior. Ray had been unusually withdrawn in the weeks leading up to his disappearance. Friends said he looked fatigued, had been steadily losing weight, and seemed emotionally distant, like his thoughts were somewhere else. He had also reportedly been reading stories about people who had staged their own disappearances to start over. To police, that detail seemed suspicious, especially when paired with something far more personal. In 1996, Ray's older brother, Roy, had taken his own life by jumping into the Great Miami River in Ohio, where his body was later recovered. The similarities were striking. The water, the missing person, the open questions. Investigators couldn't help but wonder, had Ray followed the same path? Or was he trying to fake the appearance of it? So, what really happened to Ray after he drove off that spring morning in 2005? There are three main theories, and each has its own troubling details. The most straightforward explanation, and the one law enforcement often lean towards, is he took his own life. There are several unsettling parallels. Ray's brother Roy had taken his own life in 1996, drowning himself in a river under similar circumstances. Combined with Ray's earlier online searches and shift in behavior, some investigators believe he may have been preparing to end his own life. But there are inconsistencies. Ray was known to be cautious and rational, not impulsive. His family insists he never showed signs of depression. He wasn't a strong swimmer and left no note or message. If he wanted to take his own life, it left behind very little closure. Another theory is that Ray chose to disappear. This one gained traction because of several strange breadcrumbs. For one, Ray had reportedly researched stories of people who vanished to start new lives. He had no known debts or major obligations, and he was fluent in Slovenian and Russian, languages that could make starting over in another country more feasible. After he disappeared, there were unconfirmed sightings of Ray reported not just across the US, but also in Europe, including Slovenia. His bank accounts, credit cards, and social security number were never used again. But supporters of this theory argue that's exactly what a planned disappearance would look like. Still, skeptics question whether someone so connected to his family and nearing retirement would truly abandon everything: career, family, and identity without a trace. The third possibility is that Ray didn't leave voluntarily. Some point to foul play, potentially connected to his work as a district attorney. Ray had prosecuted high-stakes drug cases and made decisions that angered powerful people, especially after the scope of Jerry Sandusky's abuse came to light in later years. Some have speculated, without evidence, that Ray may have known more or was planning to come forward with information, and that this could have made him a target. In his abandoned car, police found traces of cigarette ash, even though Ray didn't smoke, raising suspicion that someone else had been inside. The fact that his hard drive was removed and deliberately destroyed also suggests a desire to erase something permanently, possibly evidence. Was Ray silenced to prevent him from exposing something? Or did someone exploit his vulnerabilities to orchestrate a disappearance that looked voluntary? With no concrete suspects and no physical evidence of a struggle, this theory remains chilling but speculative. Over a decade later, Ray has still not been found. He was declared legally dead in 2011, but the case remains open. Pennsylvania State Police and Crime Stoppers continue seeking tips and are offering rewards for any answers. Ray, a respected DA nearing retirement with no obvious enemies, vanished without a trace. Whether he chose to disappear took his own life or became the victim of a crime. No definitive explanation has emerged. His daughter, Laura, and his wife, Patty, remain without closure. What do you think? Did Ray take his own life? Was foul play involved? Or did he just walk away? And why hasn't a body or any new clue ever emerged? Let me know in the comments below. And if you're drawn to stories that linger long after they're forgotten, subscribe to The Fifth File for more deep dives into the cold, the missing, and the unexplained.